And as you can see there, it's time to talk about the Professor Kwesi Botchwey report. Raised quite some controversy, especially since our report started airing. Now, one of the major legs of the report is how the communications team fared in the run-up to the 2016 elections. And there were some parts of the report that even named names as being responsible for the poor performance of the party. And one of the names that was mentioned and one of the persons who played a key role in the National Democratic Congress, NDC, in the run-up to the 2016 election has joined us in the studio. His name is Solomon Nkansa. He is the National Communications Officer for the party. Solomon, welcome.
Thank you very much.
So you are the National Communications Officer currently in charge of all party communications going out. Before we go into even some of the specifics that were in the report, in your assessment, what went wrong in 2016?
Thank you very much. First and foremost, let me extend my greetings to your cherished viewers and also your good self, since it's the first time since you came to Accra to man this program. One cannot proceed to talk about what went wrong when this subject is under dispute. You know that the NDC has refuted the issue of you people having the original report. And based on that, we cannot proceed to discuss it. But we have to discuss how come you have the report and you maintain that this is the report, whilst the NDC says that it isn't. You
see, we will talk about the issues that have been raised.
Yes.
You can refute whether we have a copy of the report or not. That is for you to refute. We have an authentic copy of the report.
But there's a fundamental issue here. You know that multimedia and NDC, we are major stakeholders. We've been in this since 1992, where NDC was established. By 1996, 97, multimedia came into existence. They've offered us platform to sell our product as in political party.
But so we want you to tell us from your perspective what you think went wrong.
Fantastic.
Going into the 2016
it must not be
election.
situated in the Consiboche committee report. Anything that I tell you might be my personal opinion.
That's fine.
And then also I can also speak to the issue of the recommendations Professor Botchwey made, which is public, that you know. So if we are to go by that, then we can now open up and then speak to those issues.
I'll ask the questions that I have. I'll ask the questions that I have penciled to ask. So you go ahead and answer my first question, which is what you think went wrong going into the 2016 election.
Personally, I felt that the NDC did what we can, but in the end, Ghanaians chose a different group of people to come and manage the affairs. As to whether we were able to sell our product well, it's a question that from our office we think that we weren't able to sell our product well. There were so many things that went on that the NDC could have done it better as far as relationship management is concerned, as far as canvassing techniques are concerned. So therefore, communication-wise, we didn't do well. And that is also captured in the Kosiboche report's recommendation that we should up our game as a
What didn't you do well?
One, for instance, the cancellation of the nurses and teacher trainee allowance was a very good policy that the NDC did not manage well in its implementation, which becomes a communication program. For instance, there's something called policy implementation strategy, whereby we could have implemented it in a manner that Ghanaians will come to accept it before we roll it out, and we failed to do that. Based on that, the opposition MPP punctured holes and then also offered an alternative that made the desperate nursing and teacher training students bought that product of the MPP. Ghanaians also swing towards them because our responses then became scrappy, and we didn't have the stakeholders in both education and health sector buying into our policy, and that one did not go down well with the Ghanaians.
So you did not go out and sell it well?
That is it. That's why I told you that in my earlier submission that we failed in our communication in some aspects.
That's interesting that you say that, because it's in line with what is said in the report.
Not in your report. In our report.
It's not my report. So I'm asking a question.
Yes.
My question I'm asking
yes.
is that it's in line with what is being said.
Yeah.
That, for instance, your communicators did not have a firm grasp of the message of the NDC. They would go out and mess up on other platforms and try and do damage control on Radio Go.
Fantastic. Whilst we're in government, we had a dual communication teams, government communication, party communication. So from the word go, we'll have problem. If we have harmonized it and had a uniformed communication team where we go for briefings and we deploy people to go and deliver, we could have done something better. But since we're having government communication and party communication, it presented us in a very chaotic manner.
So where do you think the problem came from? Government communications or party communications?
You see, if you have had a government communication that comprise of a ministry, agency, and departmental PROs, and then party communication that comprise of activists and what have you, where that government communication becomes the policy hatching sort of, and then they hand over the government policy for the party communicators to disseminate. It could have been that better. But you find out that government communication consisting of party members and also representing government and party on the various platforms. There are some platforms that should be a policy-based platforms, but you find partisan people representing government, which also had image crisis for us.
Which are some of these partisan people who gave you a crisis when they represented government?
I wouldn't want to name persons. It is something that is accepted within the NDC that our communication didn't go well. So we've noticed, and we are preferring remedial measures going forward.
It's not just your communication in general. Your name was mentioned that Solomon Nkansa was one of the failures of the NDC election effort in 2016.
I read the executive summary. My name is not in there.
In a copy we have, your name is mentioned.
That is why the party says that it isn't our copy. For instance, how can my name be mentioned when I was not a member of the strategic communication team? You understand?
But isn't that the beginning of the problem, that the national communications officer of the party is not in the strategic communications team?
Fantastic. So therefore, if anybody proceed to write my name in there, then that person
would that then not be a lack of trust in your ability to exclude you from the team?
I wouldn't want to debate that. If the government saw me as somebody they cannot work with, and the Congress of the party saw me somebody who can lead, and it became the choice of the government, not the choice of the party. So therefore, we went to election and lost. You can even credit me that if I had been a party to it, I could have also added something that they lacked. In 2012, I was party to all the works we did, and we won. In 2008, I worked from Western Region. So therefore, it shouldn't be somebody's decision to handpick people that he or she loves and work with. And the result is where we find ourselves. So for anybody to insert my name, that I was a problem. Problem in what? I trained all my communication officers under me, built their capacities. What I failed to do was not able to train polling station communication officers as a result of lack of funds.
How come you didn't have the funds?
My office was not resourced. I don't run any budget. I go around, solicit for funds on my own due to individual contact and friends that I have.
But your key office in the party, communications.
That is why Professor Botchwey sums it up that our communication didn't go well, and I will have to up it.
So you think it's the lack of resources that caused this?
It's one. And two, the right personnel for the right task. There are people who could have handled some of our major issues. For instance, when Dr. Mahmoud Baobian then speaks about economic issues, you cannot find Solomon Kansa to go and respond. Not even my colleague minister, Dr. Manebo and the likes, if you are dealing with reputation management. You understand? You need to find a senior economist in our government to respond to Bawumia in equal measure and then swallow him. So if we allow that thing to go on whilst we're in government, we're building Bawumia's reputation. If you had Nana Akufo-Addo always running down President Mahama, and you find out that President Mahama cannot stoop so low to Nana Addo's then as a candidate Nana Addo to rub shoulders with him, we should have created a personality to deal with President Nana Addo, then candidate Nana Addo.
But why didn't you take these steps? You are communications officer of the party.
I hold degree in public relations, so I understand communications. But if you cannot make suggestions, you cannot contribute your ideas, what can you do?
I find it difficult.
I've told you in the earlier conversation that
you can. What was limiting you? Why can't you contribute?
I'm doing this discussion under extreme restrictions because my party wouldn't want me to open up in public. We've cancelled ourselves. We are also solving the problems within, and it will not help the NDC when we go public and share certain things that ought to be kept with us and work towards remedying them.
But you've already mentioned that you were limited. You were hampered. So I just want to understand. Yes. Limited by who?
No,
limited
the thing is
what?
that you cannot force yourself on the government. You are a party communication officer. It is incumbent on the government to see the party as the vehicle towards election. Government don't go for elections. It's the party that goes for election. So therefore, when you want to sell the government's product, i.e. economic issues, political issues, developmental infrastructure, blah, 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 we have a structure of the party that if you deliver the necessary information, the party will let it trickle down.
So you were limited by government?
You can put it that way. But what I'm
well, that's what you're saying, that government did not make information available
you won't
to the
get
party.
It from Solo. I have just done it in an analogy form, and you are drawing conclusions to them. Mind you, I'm coming from a very disciplined party where I have to be very careful with what I say. And so what I'm telling you is that based on what took place, the end result is we've lost an election. So even having lost tells you that things didn't go well whilst we're in government.
I want to ask you about one of these things that didn't go well. You have just said that it is government that made some of these decisions, and I am wondering, because again you say it is the party that goes for election.
Yes.
So was it the party that, for instance, set up the communications teams for the campaign, or it was government?
You see, there's a dual responsibility of the President of the Republic, being the President of Ghana and then the leader of the party. So therefore, decisions such as campaign team, campaign this will be formed at the behest or instance of the President.
At the behest of the President?
Yes.
To form the campaign team?
No, it is his responsibility because
No. Because we know who the campaign coordinator was. The campaign coordinators were party officials.
You have to understand the workings of a political party in government and then a political party in opposition. When we are in opposition, the chairman who becomes the leader of the party. So the onus lies on the chairman to run the party, even though...
Let me ask this question. Who made Mr. Johnson Esiedun Ketia the chairman of the campaign team?
NDC's constitution.
NDC's constitution
yes.
made him the chairman of the campaign team?
Yes.
And who made Kofi Adams the coordinator of the campaign?
It's a committee that was chaired by the president that made Kofi Adams the campaign coordinator.
So ultimately, the person whose decision it was to make Kofi Adams campaign coordinator was...
The president.
Was the president.
Yes.
And so all the other officers there in that campaign team, including what made Mr. Felix Kwachiofosu, the
Deputy Communication Officer.
Yeah, and Joyce Bawa Mokhtari, Communication Officer. All those were decisions by the President.
No, not I say by the President. Listen,
but
I say
a committee
chaired by the
headed by the President.
Yes.
Did you have a problem with the President or any of these committee members?
Not at all.
How come they didn't pick you? It's a no-brainer that they will pick you rather than who, a Deputy Transport Minister? As
you see, NDC is a gender-conscious party, and that when we selected the campaign team, we found out that in Ghana, women are in the majority. So we are going to sell.
So it's because of her gender, that you picked Joyce Bawa Mokhtari.
Yes.
However,
and she was competent though.
However, you are saying that you were left out totally.
No.
That's what you're saying.
No. You are now coming to campaign team.
It's the campaign team I was referring to. What role would Joyce Bawa Mokhtari play in the campaign?
The committee report is not just about the campaign team. The committee report is about activities for the whole 4 years that led to our defeat. The committee report is not about campaign. It's part of the committee report.
But my question was on the campaign.
Oh no, then I didn't get you well because you were talking about
why I left out. I need to wrap up. Solomon, you have to give us an opportunity to continue this conversation.
I don't think you will have it because we've told you that serializing the alleged claimed Kwesi Botchwey committee makes NDC uncomfortable. Why uncomfortable is that this is supposed to be our weapon. Why we don't want you to, even if it is true that you have laid hands on the committee report, you should respect our position. That this is something very sensitive.
So it is true that we have laid hands on the report.
Even because I've not even seen your report. But what I want through you to convey to multimedia is that we have been close allies. That you must respect our interests.
For the sake of time, we'll have to end here. Thank you very much, Solomon Nkansa, for your time. And we hope to have you again on this subject. That was Solomon Nkansa. He's National Communications Officer for the NDC. Are you planning on running again for your...
I'll go for National Organizer.
Yeah, we'll go for National Organizer in the next election.
Yes, because NDC, we don't see communication as the mainstay of our party.
But you need somebody looking at your record in the party, do you think the party will trust you?
Record according to what?
I mean, again, referring to the reports that you were total failure.
Get to the NDC's grassroots, and you know who is the most efficient national officer other than apart from Asedun Katia.
Right. Thank you very much.